Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news, folks. It's our job to give you some interesting bits in the world of sports, entertainment, odd news, and whatever else we happen to stumble across in an hour-long podcast or so. I'm Rich Liebig.
And I'm Michael Costanzo.
And we've got some interesting topics for you this week to review. Before we get into sports, entertainment, and odd news headlines at hand, Mikey, my friend, how you doing? How's Costanzo Country holding up?
I'm doing good. We've been busy. I finally finished Final Fantasy 16 after many a long hours.
There you go. You're starting to knock off the video game list.
To knock off the video games. Yeah, still clearing everything out from the holidays. It was good. I made a point in weeks past to talk about how, I was playing the two big RPGs, Final Fantasy and Baldur's Gate 3.
Yep.
And finally knocked off one of them. It was a lot of fun. I will say, I think that I'm enjoying Baldur's Gate 3 more than Final Fantasy 16. They're two completely different games, but I think I'm enjoying the speed of Baldur's Gate 3. Or rather, I shouldn't say speed, because I enjoyed the literal speed of Final Fantasy 16 better, but I think the depth and intricacy of Baldur's Gate 3 is scratching a particular itch that I'm really enjoying.
There you go.
But Final Fantasy 16 was the combat was fantastic. The story was interesting. The characters were kind of interesting, but overall, I think that it was like an 8 out of 10, where Baldur's Gate is like closer to almost like a 10 out of 10.
There you go. Very good.
Yeah. But other than that, we also had a surprise birthday party for my mom, which was fun. It was her birthday over the weekend, so that was very stressful. Trying to plan that. I don't know if anybody out there has family who don't like to have things done for them. They have to have control over. And so when we're like, we'll plan something for your birthday, she starts to get antsy that she doesn't see anything happening. I'm like, don't worry. We have it taken care of. So not only was it planning a party, but it was also unplanning all the things that she was trying to do for her own party.
She's working against you.
She's like, I'm going to order my own cake. I'm like, no. Don't do that.
Yeah, please don't.
She's like, I'm going to get the food. I'm like, no, I told you I have it handled. She's like, I'm going to book a reservation for us to go have brunch. I'm like, no, don't do that either. And it was like planning and then unplanning. But it was good. It was good stuff.
Well, happy birthday to Mrs. Costanzo. You can see in the back of us there's a balloon behind us.
A giant 7-0.
Yeah. It's like it cuts half of it off, so it just looks like two balloons in the background.
No, they're huge.
It says 70, so
So
if you're watching the video feed, there you go. You got the exclusive look into the balloons.
Yep.
Actually, gonna be a good thing if you are watching the video feed, because there's something in entertainment that we're gonna review.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
oh no.
So a little teaser.
Yeah. But yeah, what have you been up to recently?
I'm playing through Talos Principle 2.
Okay, still making progress on that.
Yep.
Is it getting good?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't want to spoil it, so I'm just going to say...
just leave it at that.
It's very good. The puzzles are what you would expect.
Okay. How's the story and the philosophy? Because that's a big selling point of the game.
They did not drop the ball on it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Cause
keep it in intentionally vague. I appreciate it.
And about halfway through the game now, so...
It seems to be moving pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's not a crazy long game.
I need that.
And like you can clearly see like how far you are based on the number of puzzles you've completed.
Okay.
So you kind of know ballpark where you're at.
It's easy to track your progress.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So
that's the problem with the big sweeping RPGs. You never quite know where you are.
Yeah. Because, like, Baldur's Gate 3, we were talking about this last week. Baldur's Gate 3 seems like it should be 3 different video games.
I'm never going to finish it. Like, I feel already, like, it's getting to the point where I'm like, I don't know.
And, I texted it to you. The Xbox version that comes in a disc, an actual physical disc, is like 4 or 5 DVDs. It is ridiculous.
It's insane because the largest game I've seen on disc prior to that is like The Last of Us 2 and Red Dead Redemption 2. Both of those were 2 discs. So this is double that.
Right.
like double Red Dead Redemption 2. That's insane.
Yep. So, video games are getting more and more complex, and it's up to us to either go with the times or find other games that aren't as complex, and we find other ones.
I'm gonna go back to playing Sonic and Mortal Kombat.
Well, hey, nothing wrong with that. They're two solid games.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, but it's a big time and money commitment. So I appreciate games like Talos Principle too.
Yeah, that are just, this is what we are. We're going to give you a fresh story, but we're not trying to reinvent the wheel either.
Right. Yeah.
Although there are some new elements to it that are really interesting.
Okay.
Even when so I'll say the puzzles have new ingredients. I
like that. It's tough for puzzle game sequels to keep reinventing it. Like Portal 2 did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
back in
but
the
I
day.
don't know if they can pull off a Portal 3. I think that was like,
They haven't even
satisfied.
I haven't heard even any kind of rumors about it. I think
I don't think so. I think it should. It's kind of like the Seinfeld Succession argument. It's like,
you don't drag it out. Don't try and keep going back to it.
Leave the audience wanting more.
Yeah.
Don't give them too much.
Leave them fondly remembering the good times rather than.
And you can always do a remaster. You can always do something like that.
I would love I think did they do a remaster? Or maybe I'm
of what?
The Portal games.
I don't think Portal they've done that.
I think they just re-released them on Switch.
Yeah, I think they just put them up on the digital store.
Okay.
But they haven't done like a full-blown remaster or anything like that. No.
Anyway.
Yeah. So there you go. Our video game selections that we have been doing. But all right, let's not sound like nerds anymore. Let's go right into nerds. No, we need to go right into some serious topics. Let's go into the realm of sports with the Sports Sampler.
So you're not good at sports. It's a very small part of life.
Sports. In your face. Ha ha.
Yep, sports coming at you in your face here. And some big Hall of Fame-ish news here as Aaron Donald officially announces his retirement. I believe he's been on the Rams. Has he been on the Rams this whole time, or did he start out somewhere else?
No, he's played with the Rams all 10 seasons that he played. I mean, this is one of those careers where, like, it's not just one of the best to play the game now. It's one of the best to play the game of all time.
Yes.
10 years.
Yep.
He made 8 first-team All-Pros and 10 Pro Bowls. That's 10 for 10.
Yes.
In Pro Bowls. Like, literally nobody was doing it better than him for a decade straight.
Yes.
That's like greatest of all time kind of territory.
And I think it's NFL memes. They did a thing that said this is how good Aaron Donald was. And they showed multiple games where the offensive line to stop Aaron Donald are putting 3 and 4 and 5 guys on Aaron Donald. Like, we are not letting that guy sack our quarterback. And they have to use an insane amount of resources to make sure that doesn't happen.
Like, I think he was like first all time in like pressures, like total quarterback pressures. And second was Fletcher Cox, like our very own potential Hall of Fame. Just retired. And like, it's a big gap between the two of them from what I understand. I mean, he's one of only like a handful of players to make 10 straight Pro Bowls in the history of the NFL.
Yep.
Like, can change the game for his position.
That's also a testament to like staying healthy too. I mean, that's just unusual in football.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't see many players able to achieve that. Change the game for his position, and man, the Rams are going to be hurting without him. For the past 10 years, they haven't had to worry about that spot. Now it's question mark.
Yeah. Poor Rams.
Poor Rams, I know.
Yeah, I think they're entering the twilight now.
Yeah.
Who
they got after Stafford? Nobody.
They had their little run.
Yeah.
They got a Super Bowl out of it.
They went all in for their Super Bowl. They did it right, not like other teams currently trying to go all in. The Cowboys. And it paid off for them.
You didn't like Jerry Jones and his glory hole philosophy?
I want me some glory hole.
He wants to go all in on that glory hole.
I want me some glory hole.
Yeah. He wants all in.
I don't know what glory hole he's visiting, but...
And it is a reminder, I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so, having said that, I want me some glory hole.
That's exactly how he's approaching the season.
I just love the fact he thought it was glory hole, glory hole, glory hole. No, it's Jerry. It's two different things.
Two very different things. But back to Aaron Donald. Yeah, just instant first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not even a question.
Yeah. I mean, get him measured for his jacket already. Oh
Yeah.
He's in there.
Here's a fun fact though. He was only one of, I think there's only 4 players left in the NFL who played for the St. Louis Rams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because after they made the switch, I think he's only like one of like a few players left.
Yeah. I mean, that was a while ago now.
Yeah, that was a while ago. It's weird thinking about that, right? Pretty soon there's going to be no players who played on the St. Louis Rams.
Yeah, I mean,
for a large portion of our lives, it was the St. Louis Rams.
I kind of thought by now they would all have been done, but
no. Apparently, there's a few left hanging out somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, legend retiring. Aaron Donald and then Fletcher Cox too. Yeah, it's like all
the 2 biggest at the position over the last like 10 plus years.
Crazy,
wild.
Well, speaking of Eagles, let's get to the Eagles free agency because Howie's been busy. Where do you want to start? There's a lot of moves.
Yeah, let's start with just the very basic one of what we've been doing with our own players. They restructured defensive end Josh Sweat's contract so that he can.
Yes, we
That's
want to
right.
know where are the Eagles?
Well, he's going to be back this year. Like I said, restructured his contract so he can stick around for one more year. So that kind of ties up that question mark. Last week we talked about how he was on the trade block, and it seems like they want him back. Makes sense because he's a talented player. He's relatively young. But on the other side of the line, there is still a big question mark with Hassan Reddick.
Yep.
Still actively shopping him.
Yep.
He's a bit older. He wants something in the range of like $20 to $25 million a year. And with the way the Eagles are building their contracts and the way the cap is shaking out over 2025 and 2026, it just doesn't make financial sense. You know, as Hurts's contract starts to account for more and more of the cap space, you can't sign Hassan Reddick to something like $25 million a year. It's just not financially possible.
Yeah.
I would love for them to work something out, but the longer it drags on, you know, he said during the season he thought he was underpaid.
Yeah.
Now it's the trade talks. You don't want it to become a kind of like bitter arrangement.
Yeah, and it was kind of one of those deals. It felt like Sweat versus Reddick. It felt like whoever settled first, the other one is going to get traded. So,
Yeah. Although we said the same thing about Slay and Bradbury, and lucky us, we got both back.
Ooh, are we?
No, getting Hassan Reddick would be much better than getting these 2 defensive ends would be better than getting those 2 cornerbacks. But like you said, whoever signs first, the other one is most likely gone.
And Josh Sweat has done so.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's Reddick on the way out.
How do you feel about potentially losing Hassan Reddick?
I
mean, how big a loss is that if it happens?
Yeah, I mean, he was a good pressure, a good player to get pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a hit.
Can we do it without him?
I hope so. I mean, here's the thing coming up. My focus and my worry with this upcoming season with the Eagles, assuming nothing crazy happens in the draft, my worry is actually on the offensive side of the ball.
Really?
If the defensive side of the ball is a little lackluster, I can kind of forgive it between new defensive coordinator.
You expect it.
Yeah,
I think
expecting.
Is the thing.
Yeah, I'm expect the
You're
defense.
like, okay, they suck. What else is new?
I'm expecting the defense to still be
Shaky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But on the offensive side of the ball, we've got, Saquon, we got all these weapons. Brown,
Yeah.
Smith, Goddard. There's
It's a
reason.
ready-made NFL offense to compete at the highest levels.
Right. There is no if something is wrong with the offense,
Yeah.
then something is seriously wrong, and Nick Sirianni better be researching on how to get another job.
Yeah, I think this is a contract year for him.
Yeah.
So
it depends on how this season starts out and how it actually flows.
right. I get exactly what you're saying. We expect the defense. They were like in the bottom quarter of the league.
Yeah.
So if they're like 20th overall, we're like, cool, improvement.
Correct.
If the offense comes out and they start laying duds like we did at the end of last season, that is a major concern.
Right.
Because everything is lined up for them to just come in and just destroy opponents.
The offense should be set. It should be ready to go.
They should. Right.
Even losing Jason Kelsey, this offense kind of expected that.
Right.
Even though that is a big deal to lose, it should not be crippling.
They had been planning for it by drafting Cam Jurgens.
Correct.
And you're right. I mean, go through every single position on offense, like right guard and slot receiver. Those are the only question marks, and those aren't even like big question marks. Maybe you could say, oh, we could use some depth at tight end. We could use a second tight end. Okay. But like every other position is a lock.
Yeah.
We're good. Like top 10 in their position across the board.
So that's my theory is if the defense is sliding, I can understand that. If it's the offense that's the problem, Nick Sirianni, I think he's on his way out.
Yeah.
There's no reason why this offense can't put points on the board coming up this season.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the blowback from whatever happens with Hassan Reddick will come down to how Vic Fangio implements his defense, because the rumors of switching to a 3-4 and the edges have a lot more responsibility with either rushing or dropping back into coverage. So it all depends on how he gets the most out of those young guys, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. Can they step up? Can Nakobe Dean get healthy? I think we'll learn pretty quickly whether or not missing Hassan Reddick is going to make an impact on this defense, because losing those pressures is going to be we're going to feel it.
Yeah.
And we have to find other ways to combat it, whether that's through better secondary play, stronger linebacker play.
I would also expect in the draft they're going to go defense, I would hope.
I think they have to.
Yeah.
They have a first and 2 seconds. I think 2 of those have to be on the defensive side. They're going to take an offensive lineman somewhere. They're going to do it, and you're going to like it.
Yeah,
it's
take
just,
that.
I would like them to go guard at like one of their second round picks, but I think that 2 of those first 3 have to be either some kind of safety or corner and some kind of linebacker. You have to. You have to.
Yeah, it has to, because this defense is going to get torched.
It would be criminal if they don't. They've completely neglected those positions for like a decade.
Yep. Also, speaking of defense, Devin White, linebacker. There you go. A little bit of help there. Assistance.
Yeah, they signed Tampa Bay Bucks linebacker Devin White to a 1-year, $4 million deal. It can be worth up to $7.5 million with incentives. This does bolster the linebackers. There are questions. I've seen some murmurs that, some out there are questioning his work ethic and consistency. He was also playing for the Bucks as they were coming down from that Super Bowl, and they weren't really achieving the same level of success. I would like to say, he just wanted a new contract. He wanted out of town, maybe a change of scenery. But if he didn't like playing with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, do you think he's going to like playing for the Eagles and a defense that was ranked in the bottom quarter of the league? So
we'll find out.
We'll see. I'm a little concerned, but from what I've read, he's a good run-stopping linebacker, which we could use some help with. He is not, however, very good in pass coverage, which is always our Achilles heel there in that second level of the defense. So I think we're really banking on Nolan Smith and Nakobe Dean to take a major step up this year.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
That's a question mark, but we'll see.
That is why they drafted him high.
But one last bit of Eagles news. The Eagles also traded for a backup quarterback.
Woo!
They traded for Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett. They sent a 3rd-round pick, number 98 overall, and 2 2025 7th-round picks to Pittsburgh for Pickett and a 4th-round pick.
Oh, good for you.
So,
yep.
This was a move.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's better than Mariota. I'd rather have Pickett than Mariota.
Yeah.
Because Mariota, I watched him play those preseason games.
Good.
He was a shell of himself. I don't know what is wrong with him. For him having the potential to have been, a franchise quarterback, he just fell off a cliff. He is
at one point in our podcast's history, the Eagles were thinking of trading Fletcher Cox
Yes.
to move up and get Mariota. Like the novel of what if you could write with that singular move.
Yeah. Would have
is insane.
reframe the next 8 years.
Yeah. But I don't hate the move. We needed a backup quarterback. I'd rather have a young guy with a question mark in terms of talent than an older proven liability.
Yes.
In Mariota. So this move to me is a wash. I think we overpaid.
Yeah,
for Kenny Pickett. I think if you want to talk about value, I don't think the value's quite correct.
Yeah. Basically this ends up being a pick swap because basically we lose a 3rd round pick to gain a 4th round pick.
Right.
And the Steelers get our 3rd round pick and lose a 4th round pick. Also, we lose 2 7th round picks, but
next year as well. So we'll get those back with comp picks or something.
Yeah. For the most part, 7th round picks are jokes. I mean, look,
yeah, exactly. It's
the 49ers struck gold. Ha ha ha.
With Brock Purdy.
With Purdy,
we got Mailata in the 7th as well.
That's an exception to the rule. Usually,
we got Jordan Mailata too.
Usually,
that's 2 amazing 7th round
out
picks.
of what 1,000 7th round picks in the last 40 years. Like
still though, that 1%, you never know.
It's just when you're hitting the 7th round, you're talking about undrafted players.
You're taking big gambles.
Yeah.
Like here's a kid who was like stupidly fast but doesn't know what a football looks like. Kind of. I mean, that was Jordan Mailata. That was Jordan. He's like, he can bench press a small Toyota Corolla. He's never played the game before.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, you take your gamble in the 7th. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a wash to me. It's like whatever. The bigger news surrounding this pick, though, is this next topic here.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of paved the way for this. Yeah,
it's all tied together. The Chicago Bears finally moved on from quarterback Justin Fields.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, it took them long enough.
Took them long enough after the value fell. The Chicago Bears send Justin Fields to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a conditional 2025 6th round pick. It could elevate to a 4th rounder if Fields plays 51% of the snaps. So I saw the Pickett trade, and I'm like, that's curious. A little bit of an overpay. And then I see later that same day the Justin Fields trade, and I go, what the hell? Why did we just trade a 3rd for Pickett, and they got Justin Fields for a 6th?
Yeah, did Chicago just, give up? It feels like they just kind of gave up at this point. Just like, if nobody's going to give us...
It's wild. It doesn't make any sense. But, so the rumor out there leading up to this is that the Eagles were pursuing Justin Fields.
Yes.
And I didn't mind that move. I was like, as a backup, I actually like it. I think Justin Fields didn't get a fair shake in Chicago. But from what I understand, the Bears were honoring Fields' request or desire to go to Pittsburgh.
Yes.
He wanted to go to a team where he could continue to develop and potentially start in the future. And getting traded to Philadelphia would automatically mean...
He's the backup.
He's the backup.
Because Jalen Hurts is starting no matter what anybody says.
Right, exactly. In Pittsburgh, they got rid of all their quarterbacks. They brought in the husk of Russell Wilson, to do what he does. Steelers country, let's ride. I don't know, he's
let's
barely...
weld.
Let's weld. Steelers country, let's weld. So I think that Fields wanted that situation more, and Chicago, to their credit, I mean, give them props. They respected their players' wishes.
It basically came down to which opportunity you think you have the chance to usurp the starter at.
Yeah. And that's why the conditional pick is for 51% of the snaps.
Yeah.
Because it's I feel like there's a good possibility he could.
Yeah. So
I'm disappointed we missed out on Fields.
Knowing that this only happened for a 6th round pick. I don't know.
What's your question?
It's almost like should have Chicago just hold on to him if all you got was a 6th round pick out of him?
Is that not what I've been saying all off season?
Yeah.
I know everybody's going to be like, Caleb Williams is the generational talent, but how many times have we heard that in our lifetime?
Oh yeah.
And it not work. I'm sure he'll be fantastic, but will he be fantastic for the Bears? Because that is a franchise, that is a city that does not like quarterbacks.
They don't handle quarterbacks
Name
well.
a Bears quarterback.
Jay Cutler. Rex Grossman.
Okay. Yeah. The pinnacle of the position.
Sexy Rexy.
Sexy Rexy. They just historically do not have quarterbacks. Like, hard stop. They just don't.
It's a defensive-minded franchise.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. So, sure, I mean, they'll take Caleb Williams. I've been saying for the longest time, I think they'd be better off trading down and racking up multiple years of first-round picks. Justin Fields is not bad. He's just average. But that's what you're going to get in Chicago.
Now, though, I got to say, this roster that they're putting together is actually looking pretty good.
It's looking good. It is looking good.
I forget which pundit said it, but like if you kind of look at like the last like franchise quarterbacks that were expected to start day one and see their rosters, you'd be like, oh my god, like there's no they're set up for failure, like
right.
Just about. This roster with the Bears, I don't know. I think it could work. I mean, you've got.
They have some. What was the wide receiver they just acquired?
So they have DJ Moore,
right?
They've got at tight end Cole Kmet, who is a fantastic tight end. They've got they swiped our DeAndre Swift.
Yep,
which I was a little
and they
surprised
acquired 6-time Pro Bowler Keenan Allen.
Yeah, and they got Keenan Allen from the Chargers.
So you're right that
jettisons.
offense. But here's the thing that bothers me is they're like, we're going to go all in with Caleb Williams. What was, I guess, maybe I answer my own question. They truly believe that Justin Fields couldn't do it even with these extra weapons. I don't know. They didn't really give him a chance.
Yeah, and it's weird to see him go down for a 6th-round pick.
That's an insane
downgrade.
I saw an infographic recently of the draft value used to select the 5 quarterbacks in the first round in that draft class, and then the return value in the trades that all just happened. And it's like
bad.
It's like 2% of the total value.
Yeah.
I think 3 of the 5 first-round quarterbacks from 2021 are with different teams. One of them is Zach Wilson.
Who's going to get traded, so it's going to be 4.
Either traded or cut or just retire at this rate. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the other one is Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Who can be good, but to this point, his team has kind of struggled.
Well, he had the Jaguars.
Yes.
You need a little asterisk.
Yeah, a little asterisk. His team has struggled, but it was the Jags. So.
Yeah.
So
they did win a division title 2 years ago, which I thought was impressive.
They did. It is tough to pull that off in any division in the NFL.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, he's not like top 10.
Not right now, but I think he's got the potential.
He could be.
Yeah.
Maybe. That was
Especially with
that was a
Dougie
bad
P.
that was a bad quarterback class. No matter how you dice and slice it. Slice and dice and slice.
So that was 2021.
Yeah.
We drafted Hurts in 2020.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That sometimes it's just the year. You got to have the right year.
Everybody's blaming it on that was the COVID years in 2021, so nobody could evaluate the quarterbacks properly and yada, yada, yada.
Oh.
Maybe.
That's interesting.
Maybe. I don't know. Here's the thing. Everybody wants to give every excuse, but the reality of it is it's all BS. Nobody knows. Carson Wentz was taken 2 overall. He's like basically out of football.
Yeah.
Remember Jamarcus Russell? Oh, my God, the physical talent on him. Matt Leinart. I mean, you can just go down the list of all the previous, like Mariota.
Yeah.
Who was the other top quarterback that year that didn't do anything? There's so many of them.
That was
another 1-2 year, but I can't remember who it was.
Wasn't it Jameis Winston?
Yeah, I think so. There you go. What's he doing? Nothing.
He signed with the Browns.
Okay.
What a tag team.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston and Deshaun Watson.
Ooh, they have a type. The Browns are just...
Oh, good for you.
Some franchises are just bad franchises.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. I feel bad for Fields. I feel bad for us, the Eagles, that we had to... I feel like we overpaid for our backup quarterback now.
Okay, so... Whatever. Okay. I can forgive.
I can't.
we dropped up from a 3rd round pick to a 4th round pick. I can forgive that.
Okay.
With Fields though going to Pittsburgh, do you think there is a shot that Fields kind of regains a starting job and becomes the Steelers' starting quarterback?
Absolutely. I don't think there's any kind of like hope here that Russell Wilson becomes the franchise quarterback at like, what is it, 37, 38 years old? Like
How old is he?
Russell Wilson, he's old.
Well, I think he's like 35, I think. I mean, if he's that closer to 40, you might as well consider retiring.
Okay, he's 35.
Okay. So
But he looks 38 the way he plays.
That's what happens when you have Sean Payton as your coach.
Yeah. But I think we're safe to say that he's not going to become a long-term franchise quarterback. He's clearly a veteran presence for a year or two, and then it's going to be Fields. Because they traded for Fields, who's on a contract year. That means they have to do something with him. They're not going to bring in both these guys for 1 year only.
Right.
Unless they themselves are planning on moving up and taking a quarterback in the draft, which would just be bonkers. That makes no sense. So I think that Fields is going to be their starting quarterback at some point in the future. And I think that Pittsburgh is a team that is built to help above-average quarterbacks succeed. Ben Roethlisberger. With strong defenses, good ground game, things like that. Ben Roethlisberger, he was a game manager. He always was. You know?
Okay. All right. So
not knocking him, just that was his bread and butter.
All right.
Fields might be able to do the same thing there.
There you go. Mikey is giving no hope to Russell Wilson.
Well, what do you say? What's your answer to your question? Fields is going to start there next year.
It's hard because I do want to believe in a Russell Wilson redemption story.
Okay.
I want to believe that there's still something. It just seems so starkingly sharp of a decline.
Yeah.
That he goes from Super Bowl winning quarterback, perennial stat
he was
leader,
always like top 5, top 10 easily.
Yeah. And then just cliff.
Complete joke.
Like
overnight.
And the Seahawks saw it before it was going to happen. I don't know. I feel like there's some if that is the case, and if Russell Wilson does tank in Pittsburgh, I feel like there's something behind the scenes that we haven't heard about, that they saw something or he got hurt or something that caused this fall from grace. It just seems so abrupt that he just went right off the cliff.
Everything that I read.
On the other hand, though, if he can make this situation with the Steelers work,
then it's just the Broncos.
Yeah, then we know it was just the Broncos. And I think that would be kind of an acceptable story, because the Broncos, they don't treat quarterbacks well, other than Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
That was it.
Even barely. He was
and Elway.
He was just it. But I mean, Peyton Manning was a corpse by the time he was playing there.
Well, not the first year he was there. That first year, he lit it up. He had
he did.
I think he still has the record for most touchdowns
he threw
in a season.
50 some touchdown passes, but that second year,
yeah, he
was literally a mummy.
Yeah.
But about Russell Wilson, I remember reading at the time that the move happened. A bunch of Seahawks fans were like, yeah, he's not good at these certain elements that nobody's realized, because we've always had the team around him to cover it up. And I think he got exposed a little bit in Denver. So, we'll see. I mean, again, it comes down to coaching and the team that's around the player, because you can have a player be really successful in one system with one team and a certain supporting cast, go somewhere and not do anything. I mean, we see it all the time.
Yeah.
So,
well,
it'll be interesting to see which way.
I will say it's definitely his last chance. If he can't make it work in Pittsburgh, he might as well call it a career.
But do you think he has a resurgence? Do you think they go and sign him, to a long-term deal?
I don't think so.
He's going to be 36.
I don't think so, but I wouldn't count him out.
Okay. So if he has the resurgence, there's
got to be something.
I don't know.
I can't.
How many coaches did he play for with the Broncos? He played for two different coaches.
And one of them was Nathaniel Hackett, who clearly didn't know what he was doing.
All right. But Sean Payton apparently is a good coach. or some people say.
Yeah, that might be an asterisk.
I mean,
too.
I disagree, but
Yeah.
some people say he's good.
That might be a little asterisk there.
Yeah.
But I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
Maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
I just feel like you don't trade for somebody as in the headlines as Justin Fields without thinking this kid's going to be our starter one day.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting situation to monitor. See if the Steelers roll with Wilson and if he thrives or if they eventually turn to Fields.
It will be interesting in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like the Steelers got a win out of this.
Oh, yeah. A conditional sixth round pick.
They're only paying Russell Wilson $1 million.
Yeah.
Their quarterback room is basically like what, $9 million? How much is Justin Fields getting paid? Like $10 million?
Know. I mean,
being on like one of the last years of his contract, it can't be that much.
Well, put it this way: it's comically low for quarterbacks who started for their teams last year.
Yeah, the
two
Steelers,
former starters are now your first and second string quarterbacks, and you're paying them less than one average NFL starter.
Hey, guess what though?
What?
Eagles are too.
What do you mean?
Pickett was a starter.
I guess. Yes. That's he was.
Wow. All right, this is definitely Mike's feeling about getting Kenny Pickett. There you go. That's Mikey in a nutshell.
I mean, you're right. But to your point about the contract, Jalen Hurts is like worth double the Pittsburgh guys combined.
Yes.
So we're paying for it.
Yeah. But it's not unreasonable though.
No, it's still manageable. Next year is our tight year.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that we won't see another big move in free agency. Unless it's like a player for player swap or something like that with somebody who's like already on a contract because they want to roll over as much cap as they can to next year.
Yeah. Well, look, at least I think things are looking on the up for the Eagles because could be the Cowboys where they're just treading water and saving $5 million on Dak Prescott.
Their big free agency announcement is they restructured him to save $5 million. Okay, so they went from $59 million,
59.5
to $54.5.
Whoa. You can get one player.
They're all in. And by all in, I guess they mean paying Dak Prescott the entire available cap space because they haven't. I think they're the only team that has not signed an outside free agent.
I think so. I think you're right on that.
They're not even trying.
I don't know.
They're not trying. It's so bizarre to me. I mean, I'm here for it. I'm glad.
Right, we're glad.
Yeah, it's just bizarre.
As Eagles fans, go ahead. Keep up this
If I were a
strategy.
Cowboys fan, I'd be so frustrated, like beyond belief.
Yeah. But I joked about it last week. Like, is Jerry Jones alive?
He might not be.
Everybody go check on him.
Yeah, right. Make sure his radio interviews aren't just like AI.
Yeah, at this rate.
Has he appeared in public recently? I don't know.
Is he like the new Kate Middleton? Like we're gonna have these theories like,
everybody's editing photos and doing AI voiceovers. And
yeah.
It's a weird world we live in.
It is. That's something I didn't know about until Rachel told me.
The Kate Middleton thing?
Yeah, apparently everybody thinks Kate Middleton is fake.
I still don't know what you're talking about. She edited a photo, or am I thinking of somebody else?
No, so yeah,
they say that
right.
she's fake?
They're saying that there's something wrong behind the scenes and that
she's never been real.
No, not that. Yes, this whole time.
She's a lizard person? What?
Yes.
You heard it here first. Rich said that Kate Middleton. Illuminati.
Yes. Illuminatus. Yes.
So wait, what's the actual conspiracy? Not the crazy conspiracy.
That basically, there's
something's wrong. Like
something's wrong with Kate Middleton, and they're
marriage-wise or health-wise or both. Oh,
yeah.
Hey, maybe it is the Royals. They're
and
weird.
It is. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it could be. Anyway, that's not sports, but we are coming up to the end of the sports segment anyway. So. Why not? Screw it. This is 2024. Nothing matters anymore.
Do whatever we want.
Yeah. Literally, I told Michael on the way over here, I had people just stop in the middle of the road. Like, sure. Yeah. Nothing matters anymore. It's 2024. Fantastic.
Do what you want, people.
Yes. But you know what does matter? The entertainment entree and the non-fortune cookie odd news. Will hit those topics when we return from the break. Don't go anywhere. This is the Crispy Noodle Podcast. We'll be right back.
Ready for the weekend? Happy Friday. Hi, my name's Marie, and I'm an artist who's been making Happy Friday doodles every week for over 7 years. And now you can own my art collection in this Volume 1 and Volume 2 art series. These doodles span across multiple themes, yearly festivities, various countries, languages, and more. Both coffee table books have something for everyone and are the perfect conversation starter or gift for a friend. Really, anyone who enjoys a good weekend. Available on Amazon, Ingram, BookBaby, Barnes & Noble, and more. Visit happyfridaydoodles.com/books and get your copies today. Let's celebrate the best day of the week. Happy Friday.
We're going to talk about 22-year-old Matthew Kyle Letham, and he decided to call police at 4:45 in the morning because he couldn't find a ride home after the bar at 4:45 in the morning. But that is not the actual oddity of this story. Police encountered Matthew Letham on the scene, and that's when they noted that this dude actually has a tattoo of the state of Florida in between his two eyebrows.
Oh my God.
Yes, and I have his mugshot. So here we go.
He's literally Florida Man.
Yes.
He's like a superhero Florida Man, and that is like his logo.
He is Mr. Florida Man. So
I mean, it's the most harmless Florida story we've ever had.
Yeah, except for the fact that dude has a tattoo
stupid
that will last the rest of his life that he cannot hide.
You cannot undo that. Every job interview he goes to, the very first thing they're going to see and question is the Florida tattoo. Yeah.
It's literally like, can I touch it? Like, it's right there.
You know the scene in Austin Powers Goldmember? The guy who has the mole?
Yeah.
Moly, 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 moly. Yeah. It is that, except with Florida on his forehead. Is anybody more proud of their home state than that guy?
Can't say it. I can't think of anybody else.
Nope.
So,
I love Pennsylvania, but not that much.
No, I do not want. Pennsylvania is a big state too. I do not want that on my forehead.
It's very square or rectangular. It would, yeah. What's the weirdest state to get tattooed to a forehead? I think. What do you think would be the weirdest one? I mean, I think Florida because the way it's shaped.
Florida's pretty weird. California would be weird because it's
very long,
and then it juts out.
No, Michigan.
Ooh, yeah. Because they got all those like Great Lakes and stuff.
Yeah, and it's split in half.
Ugh, yeah, that would not be good.
That'd be a weird one.
Yeah.
Alaska. Oh, Oklahoma. I was going to say Alaska.
Oklahoma, you have to get the box, and then you have to get that little dinky panhandle that goes the other half of your head.
You're literally making yourself a unibrow, and then like it has like a little hat on it.
Yeah. Ew.
What about Alaska? You have that whole chain of islands coming off the side. It's going to like go around the side of your head almost.
Yeah.
This is the dumbest conversation we've ever had. In 8 years of podcast, I think it's safe to say that talking about the weirdest state to tattoo to your forehead, probably the dumbest thing we've ever talked about.
It's 2021, man.
And we were like actually analyzing. You're like, oh yeah, and the islands, and we're like, yeah, that makes sense. There's something fundamentally broken with us, Rich, in 2021.
It's 2021. Nothing makes sense anymore. It's that
pandemic.
simple.
The pandemic's gone on too long, Rich. We've hit a breaking point.
Yeah. All right.
Next week we're both going to show up with states tattooed to our foreheads.
Dear God. Yeah, you can always count on Florida to give you some memorable odd news stories, and we had an actual Florida man there.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Good times.
Literally, he is Florida man. He got Florida tattooed on his forehead like he was a superhero or something.
That is a bold choice.
Yeah. I mean, boy, I don't think I would ever do that. You'd have to offer me billions of dollars.
I don't think, a state tattoo is like so bad. But any tattoo on the forehead is just such a really bold choice.
Yes. Oh.
You can't, there's not much you
can't
can do
hide
to
it.
hide that.
Yeah,
No.
Even sunglasses, it's going to be really tough to try and find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? A tattoo could be very entertaining.
It could be.
So
Could be
that's
entertaining.
appropriate for our second part of the show, the entertainment entree.
And now, the latest in movies.
The Simpson guy writes to movies. Dear Die Hard, you rock. Especially when that guy was on the roof.
Music.
I know what that is. That's music.
Video games.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Celebrities.
You really know Warren Beatty?
Yes, I do. I took a leak next to him once at the Golden Globes.
And more.
You were the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
This is the entertainment entree.
All right, it's entertainment entree time. Before we jump into some new topics, I just want to give an update because we talked about wrestling for a little bit a while ago.
We did, yeah.
And there have been some updates in that realm with the Vince McMahon sex trafficking bombshell that happened at the end of January.
Yeah.
For those that think he has a shot of coming back, I think he's dead as Dillinger.
Uh-oh.
And I think he knows it as well. Per an SEC quarterly report, this is official. Vince McMahon sold 8.4 million shares of TKO, which is the company that bought WWE last year.
Sounds like a lot.
That he collected $700 million with.
Insane.
And then in March, it is on the record that he sold another 5.3 million shares of TKO for another $436 million.
So he net $1.1 billion.
Yes, he cashed out $1.1 billion.
That's insane.
He still has 15 million shares left of TKO from the WWE buyout, but this now officially reduces his ownership down to 8%, which makes him ineligible to be a top-level executive member of the TKO board. So however way you want to slice it, this pretty much puts it in concrete. He is out of the company that he founded.
That's it's pretty crazy. Those numbers are staggering, but
that's succession level numbers.
Yeah. You have to imagine though that this is something that was desirable from both sides because TKO doesn't want him around.
Not with this bombshell going off.
I wouldn't be surprised if he had some internal pressure to leave, to cash out, get out somehow. But the problem here though is you mentioned the sex trafficking issues. Could this be some kind of insider trading? Like he was cashing out because he did this just before the news broke.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it does seem dicey.
It does seem dicey. And I feel like nothing will probably happen, but I feel like something should happen.
Right.
There needs to be some kind of consequence for this weird coinkydink. It's like, oh, that's curious timing. No, it's not.
Well,
it's not curious. It was intentional.
So you want to hear the ultimate reason why probably nothing's going to happen?
Why?
He sold those shares. The stock price went up.
Yeah.
Usually when you sell a lot of shares, usually the price goes down because it's like, ooh, something's happening. But we all know why he's selling the stock, so the stock price went up. So probably nothing's going to happen because nobody's going to complain.
Yeah, nobody's going to complain. That's absolutely wild. He's just
America!
That's... Yep.
But there you go.
It's just wild stuff. That whole story is so just bizarre, like stranger than fiction kind of things.
For the record, McMahon still denies it. He says he's going to fight it, but I don't know.
Good luck to him, I guess.
Yeah, and I also don't know how you're going to fight.
There were so many claims, even if one of them was correct.
Yes.
That's the thing. He's sunk.
Right. And it doesn't even matter now because now there's no way for him to get back into the company.
You know what helps ease that pain, Rich? $1.1 billion.
It does. Yeah.
If I had to like sell my company, but I had $1.1 billion, I'd be wiping my tears with $100 bills.
Yeah. Literally that gift from Zombieland.
Yeah, exactly.
You're wiping your tears.
Exactly.
With Mr. Benjamin.
Mr. Benjamin.
Yeah. So there was that update, and then just one more update in wrestling. So we talked about The Rock and how he kind of inserted himself into the WrestleMania.
Yeah, he
match.
just like wrote him into the matchup.
Well, they pivoted. They did a great pivot. I'll tell you what. One thing the WWE writers do, if there is a substantial hatred for the storyline, they usually get the hint and they usually try and fix it.
That's the good thing about wrestling is that it is scripted, so they can pivot if they need to.
So they have instead what they're going to do is, remember WrestleMania is now a 2-night event now. They split this. WrestleMania is not one night anymore. It's now Saturday and Sunday night. They've done this now since I think 2020.
Okay.
So what they're doing is Saturday night 1, they're going to do a tag team match of The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, who is the World Heavyweight Champion. So they're basically like this huge built tag team match to get The Rock on and fulfill his contract, because he obviously signed for a WrestleMania match. He needs to be involved in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But then for night 2, they went back to the original Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns match for the WWE Championship.
Okay. So, I mean, it's still best of both worlds kind of thing. He still makes his appearance, but, the actual main event
title fight that the fans were promised and what they wanted still comes to fruition.
Good.
And what the board wanted with The Rock and a stable presence, they still get that on Saturday night.
Good. Yeah, I mean, this is a no-brainer to me because it is scripted. They can change who's fighting who and who wins what. It's not like, disappointing NFL team wins you don't want to win kind of thing. They have full control over it, so they should take advantage of that. You don't get that in a lot of sports.
No.
So,
maybe WWE is looking up now, especially compared to AEW, because after they lost Sting, they're looking kind of hurt right now. But we'll see. We'll see how the future goes with wrestling. But there you go. Quick wrestling update there. How about now let's get into the segment where Mike is going to let you know what we should keep an eye out for this upcoming weekend with new movies, TV, and video games in Mike's This Week in Entertainment. All right, Mikey, what should people keep an eye out for?
All right, well, in theaters, we have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire hitting movie theaters this week. It is the 5th movie of the Ghostbusters franchise, the 4th movie in the main franchise, and the direct sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, but it leaves the location of the 4th movie to go back to its roots to team up with the original Ghostbusters in New York City. And I don't know, it's Ghostbusters. Go see it or not, I don't know.
I don't know.
The franchise has become so confusing. It's the 5th movie, but only the 4th of the main franchise, not including the 2016 version.
Yeah.
But now they're going back, and the original Ghostbusters are back. I didn't see Afterlife. I feel like maybe I'm better off for not having seen it. Did you see it?
I saw Afterlife, and it was, what you would expect. It basically was like another reiteration of The Force Awakens.
So we'll see how Ghostbusters
Another reason why I hate The Force Awakens now.
Now every remake is going to try it. It's not a remake. It's a long-awaited. I don't like these 20-year-in-the-making sequels. Just let it die. You don't need to sequelize something that's multiple decades old.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe I'll talk about it in the next segment.
Yeah. So Ghostbusters. But if you actually want something creative and new, check out this absurdist comedy Problemista about an aspiring toy designer from El Salvador who is struggling to bring his ideas to New York City. As time on his visa runs out, he has to work as an assistant to an art world outcast to keep his dream alive. The movie has a respectable 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, with an average rating of 7.4 out of 10. So go check out the absurdist comedy Problemista. In television, sci-fi series Three Body Problem comes to Netflix this week. This is the next project from the Game of Thrones creators. It's based on the best-selling sci-fi novel of the same name, which follows the events after mankind's first communications with extraterrestrial intelligence. This first season focuses on the award-winning first book beginning in the 1960s and doesn't stray too far into the future. So while reviews are average, if you're looking for a new sci-fi drama to dig into, this could be a good option. And finally, in video games, Rise of the Ronin is a new open-world action RPG coming exclusively to PlayStation 5. There's a lot of hype around this game. It promises branching narratives, stylish, challenging combat, plenty of activities and objectives in the open world, and a dramatic story set in an era of war and political upheaval as players control a masterless samurai during an era of change and turmoil in Japan's history as East and West collide. Players use both traditional samurai weapons as well as firearms to wage war against both the ruling class and the outsiders as the fate of Japan rests in their hands.
That's an interesting premise.
Yeah, it is. It looks very, very interesting. So go check that out. That's Rise of the Ronin coming to PlayStation 5. And that's what we're looking forward to this week in entertainment.
All right, Mikey, thank you for that segment this week in entertainment. So let's talk about some Star Wars news. There's been some developments in the Star Wars realm. There was there was a trailer that we're going to talk about. Let's talk about the trailer first. Let me get the trailer out of the way.
You want to talk about the trailer first?
Let's talk about the trailer first.
Okay.
The Acolyte, first official trailer. I know you're looking forward to this because this is this is their first attempt to explore the New Republic era, which is at least 100 years before the events of the Phantom Menace. So this is like a far, far prequel. This is set aside from the Skywalker story completely. There's
I am
kind of
so,
no way this can be tied other than like maybe Yoda.
I am so excited. I'm going to be so pissed if they're like, oh, yes, the ancient walker of the skies. I'm like, just shut up. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just have the courage to do Star Wars in a visual medium without the Skywalkers. You can do it. I believe in you. I trust in you. They can do it.
Okay.
I need to see it. I've been so fascinated with this era. I haven't engaged much in the expanded universe, so it's my own fault. I know the content's out there, but I really want to see it come to life on the screen because that's the primary way that I digest my Star Wars fandom. And I'm excited to see an era before the Sith, when the Jedi are at their peak, there's peace and prosperity, and then my big question, my dramatic question is, like, what happens that causes it to all go south? Like, is it the Jedi are like too like big in their own britches kind of thing and they kind of like falter? Like can you give me any insight like what to expect here? Is this like a upstart, the Sith is an upstart faction, like we don't like how you're just like so domineering? Like what can we expect?
Well, I would expect that there's probably still going to be some sort of Sith character with a Darth title. I mean, I don't think you can get away from that.
But this is where they start though, right? Like this is when the Sith, or not really?
Not necessarily, because
have they always been around?
They've always been around. It's just a matter of who is in control and who maintains the control.
So it's not that they haven't been there. It's just that they haven't been, I guess, as forceful as in.
Yeah, I think that's a better way to look at it.
Okay.
But there's got to be, I think there's got to be a way to play this as a different kind of faction of the Sith, because I don't want it to. You can't have this be like. I think it'd be too spot on if this is like, ooh, this is the guy that taught Palpatine how to be evil,
Oh, yeah.
Don't do that.
I really see we're of the same thinking. I don't want any Walkers of the Sky. I don't want any Palpatine pappies.
Sifo Dyas. No. Like, this needs to be an original story and just run with it.
Yeah.
It is implied that it's supposed to be a different kind of a Sith faction or some sort of new kind of evil darkness, which that could be interesting. Maybe it could be something that ties with the Night Sisters that we've been seeing in the.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that we've been seeing in the video games and in some parts of Ahsoka. Like maybe that could
help,
be.
That would help flesh out. I mean, one of the things that I struggle with in Ahsoka is it felt so. I was like, "What's the big deal?" throughout the entire thing, and I feel like maybe getting some ancient history that ties into the ancient history that they kind of touched on a little bit in that series,
Right.
would help.
Right.
Like strengthen what Ahsoka was, and then also be a nice little tie-in for fans of both series.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just super pumped. The trailer looked really cool. A lot of like hand-to-hand combat, which I don't know. That struck me. I was like, there's a lot. It's almost like a martial arts vibe to it.
Yeah.
As opposed to like when you look at Jedi and Sith, it's like it calls to mind imagery of like knights, like the Knights Templar, right?
Yeah.
Like medieval.
Right. And that's what it was designed after.
But this, because it's so ancient, it's like hand to hand, almost like kung fu, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
I mean, did you get that vibe at all?
A little bit, yeah. I can see where you're going with that.
And I kind of liked that. That's you have the Western with the Mandalorian. You have the traditional fantasy knights with everything else. Maybe this is like an exploration of another subgenre of the Star Wars world.
And then your crime drama is Andor.
Andor, yeah.
I mean, could be.
Disney kind of did the same thing with Marvel.
That's a good way to view it. Maybe it could work like that.
I am 100% on board. Okay. Super pumped for this. June 4th.
Yep.
Is when it comes out. Can't wait. The tagline is, "In an age of light, a darkness rises." I'm excited. I'm excited.
Well, let's talk about a different kind of darkness rising.
Okay.
And that is advertising. Boy, do we hate advertising, right?
Oh, yes, we do.
Well, this story popped up on my news feed, and I had people asking me about it and cousins asking me about it, and we got to talk about it. It's finally time. I've gotten wind of the Star Wars broadcast in Chile. Apparently in Chile, they were trying to experiment with their TV broadcasts, where instead of taking a break from the movie and going to commercial break, they would try to film separate scenes and force feed it into the movie with product placement, so they didn't have to cut to a break, but you would still have the commercial in the movie.
Right.
And they tried it with Star Wars out of all the movies to try this with.
I mean, why not?
Yeah. And I have the video here of 5 of the best instances of when they tried to insert a forced beer commercial into Star Wars. This is the best way to get Rachel to watch Star Wars, I think, in my opinion.
Is put beer product placement?
Yeah.
Can we just also, the fact that it's a beer, it's not even something that's like remotely
yeah,
you could fit in. It's not like, I don't know, what could fit in easily. Like, I don't know, some kind of like
moisturizer.
Moisturizer.
You're on Tatooine.
Because on Tatooine, yeah, right?
Yeah, you need to moisturize your skin.
Or like some kind of like hard.
2 suns.
Oh no, yeah, for that extra dry skin, you know.
Yeah.
Or like some kind of like hardware tool or something. Like maybe you could get away with, but like beer, like. Well, let's see how they did it. Though.
Yes. So if
I can't wait.
Sorry if you're just doing the audio podcast. This kind of doesn't work. But for
join the 21st century.
But for our video watchers, here you go. This is a feast for your eyes. These are the top 5 edits made to the Star Wars movies, the original trilogy Star Wars movies, with product placement of a beer sponsor. Dear Lord, here we go.
You fought in the Clone Wars?
Yes. I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father.
I wish I'd known him.
He was the best star pilot in the galaxy. And he was a good friend. Which reminds me, I have something here for you.
Cerveza Cristal. Cerveza Cristal.
Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
You don't believe in the Force, do you?
I've seen a lot of strange stuff, but I've never seen anything to make me believe there's one all-powerful force controlling everything.
Cerveza Cristal. Cerveza Cristal. Cerveza Cristal.
Run! A Jedi.
I just love the fact that they made Obi-Wan Kenobi like an alcoholic. But
yeah,
let's continue.
Attack.
But tell me why I can't.
No, there is no why. Nothing more will I teach you today. Clear your mind of questions.
Thank God someone stored a beer in that tree.
You must know your father can never be turned from the dark side. So will it be with you.
It is pointless to resist, my son.
So there you go.
Oh my God.
Palpatine apparently is an alcoholic
he
too.
Loves his. Also, what I love is that it's not.
Oh my gosh!
It's not a product. I mean, it's not like a. It's not like a seamless product placement.
No,
it's like the jingle. Cerveza Cristal.
Yeah, Cerveza Cristal. Yes.
So good.
Yes. Basically, by this logic, Obi-Wan Kenobi is an alcoholic. And,
oh, yeah. He's always reaching for it.
And Palpatine's just cracking open a cold one while he's using the Death Star.
I really like the one scene where he's like stroking it under his.
Yeah, he's hiding it from
robe.
Han.
Like, what
yeah.
is that?
Yeah, like, I better not let Han see. This is mine.
Can't get my Cerveza Crystal.
This is my crystal.
Cerveza Crystal.
It's a very catchy jingle.
It is.
But just that
was
product
so
placement.
Awkwardly shoehorned in there.
Yeah. Obviously, Lucasfilm slapped a lawsuit against them because you're literally editing parts of the film into completely different contexts.
No, I disagree with Lucasfilm. I think that they should release the Cerveza cut.
Cerveza cut, yes.
Like if Snyder can get his own cut, why can't we have a Cerveza cut?
This whole time we didn't know Obi-Wan Kenobi is a struggling alcoholic since his fight with Darth Vader. He just constantly needs Cerveza Crystals.
Look,
wherever he goes.
He has some serious trauma.
Why did they not do it in Mos Eisley?
Yeah, right.
That would be the right product placement.
Mos Eisley, when the Ewoks are all having their party, they bust out a few cold ones.
Yeah.
Like there's options. Or on Hoth, like, cold refreshing brew on a cold refreshing planet. I don't know.
The rebels keep the Cerveza Cristal actually like outside of the base.
Right.
Because
exactly.
It's cold.
Exactly.
It's hot.
They're in their trench watching and they're just like
Cerveza Cristal.
Yeah. There's better places to put it than like, oh, your father left this for you. What? A beer?
Yeah, your father wanted you to have beer.
So weird.
This is the Irish version of Star Wars.
Apparently.
That's what this is.
Isn't Luke supposed to be like 16, so it's also promoting underage drinking?
No.
Not good.
No, it's promoting Obi-Wan being the cool uncle.
Of course.
Everybody should get the one cool uncle that sneaks you a beer.
You have to have the one cool uncle.
Yeah, sneaks you the drink.
With the Cerveza Crystal.
Cerveza Crystal. You go, shh, be quiet.
I want them. So obviously those were select scenes, but I want to know how absurd it got. Because I imagine over the course of 3 2+ hour movies, it wasn't just those 5 scenes. There's probably more.
Yeah.
There's probably what other product placements? Like they're like driving through the desert of Tatooine and their car transforms into like a Mustang. Like Like, I don't know, like, what other weird product placements are there?
Yeah, right.
You know?
Well, that was the most glaring one, and that was the one that got sued by that Lucasfilm decided to go after and sue the Chilean TV network over.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, that immediately has come to an end.
That's sad.
That practice will not be happening anymore.
I say release the Cerveza cut.
Yeah, release the hashtag release the Cerveza cut. Yes, because that is pretty glorious.
That was awesome.
Yes. So there you go. It's now actually that should be canon now. Obi-Wan Kenobi is an alcoholic.
Yeah, is Cerveza? I mean, like, does that get entered into the canon? The
It should
Cerveza
now.
Crystal, yeah.
Yes, and Cerveza Cristal is the official beer of Star Wars.
That's. That was just
Obi-Wan,
such a bold.
Obi-Wan Kenobi loves the beer so much.
He's just hiding it in his robes.
While he is trying to help his friends get out of the tractor beam, he has to crack open one on the Death Star.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, let me rewire this, but first, a cold one.
Yes. And apparently the Empire keeps their refrigerator right next to the tractor beam station.
Apparently.
That's engineering.
That's right.
Those are engineers, let me tell you.
Oh, my God.
Imperial engineers, finest at work.
Hey, you know, maybe those engineers, they like to have a nice little refreshing drink while they're doing their engineering stuff, whatever they're doing with the tractor beams.
The Empire apparently is not against it.
I would love to
engineers
see...
support it. Palpatine supports it. Palpatine just cracks open a cold one.
Like, while he's, like, talking about Luke and the Force and all this stuff, he's just like, I need something to wet my whistle.
Yeah. something dark side. Oh, my voice is a little raspy. Someone crack open. Cerveza Cristal.
Something dark side. Something Cerveza.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so there you go. Great find. This is why the internet was invented, so we know what's happening in Chile.
That's amazing.
I just can't believe some brazen TV executive
They're
thought
like,
we could get away with
fine.
this. Yeah.
And they did that to avoid showing ads. But
Dedicated ad breaks. Yeah.
Dedicated ad breaks, but they made the movie utterly ridiculous. Like, could you imagine if you're watching this, right? Your first time seeing this movie.
Well, in Chile, yeah, they think Kenobi is an alcoholic, and
their version of Star Wars is so different.
Yeah.
They're like, Luke's entire journey is to, like, acquire this beer now.
The mystical beer, Cerveza Cristal.
So weird.
Luke, you must go to the Dagobah system and find my stash of Cerveza Cristal.
Use the Force, Luke. And if that doesn't work, Cerveza Cristal.
Yeah, let's do it. There you go.
I love it.
So
I would have loved to see, I bet you anything, in the scene where R2-D2 shoots the lightsaber out.
There should be a Cerveza Cristal.
The first thing he shoots out is Cerveza Cristal and then the lightsaber.
Jabba's deck is supposed to be a restaurant
there you
bar.
Go, right there.
Why? There's a scene where he's carrying drinks.
Perfect.
There you go. Put Cerveza Cristal on it.
It makes sense.
Cerveza Cristal.
Oh, the scene where Darth Vader invites them to that dinner party, but it's a trap.
Another dinner. There you go. Yeah.
So many ways to fit it in better.
We would be honored if you would join us for some Cerveza Cristal.
In James Earl Jones' voice.
Yeah. Cerveza Cristal.
The blue milk could have been Cerveza Crystal.
Yeah.
So many other places to put it. They shoehorned it in there in the weirdest spots.
Right.
The tree in Dagobah.
Yeah. Cloud City.
Does everybody keep their drink in the tree?
Well, I guess you can't do Lando because Lando was Billy D. Williams, and he was a supporter of Colt 45.
Oh yeah.
So is that brand conflicting? Did they just erase Lando because he's supporting Colt 45?
They just completely take him out.
Yeah.
This is like a placeholder, like. Oh man.
Yeah, you can't have him showing off his Colt 45. You're trying to promote Cerveza Cristal. Interesting. I don't know. These are the questions we need answered. Get Chilean TV networks. Let us know what happened.
And when was this? This was in the 80s?
No, this was apparently in the 2000s.
Oh wait, this like just happened?
Well, this happened in the decade of like 2000s.
Okay, but in the time span of Star Wars, it's more recent than not.
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
I thought this was like when it first came out.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. True story in Chile.
All
trying
right.
to use some interesting tactics to rewrite Star Wars. Not actually against it.
No, I liked it. I'm telling you, release the Cerveza cut.
Yeah. All right, but we got to leave it there, and we got to get to our third and final portion of the show. Drop your Cerveza Cristales. It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
We've been talking about cool and its ramifications and how it applies to the hip scene. But maybe you could give us some examples now of the opposite of cool, uncool. Just exactly what is uncool?
My nipples look like milk duds.
Holy shnikes.
It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
It's not of this world. I don't know exactly what it is or what it's doing, but this is not human intelligence, okay? It's not human intelligence we're facing.
How you doing? Me? I'm doing great.
I don't make this stuff up.
I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts! That'll be $4, baby! You want fries with that?
I seen the celery dance across the baseball fields.
You had me at Meat Tornado.
No, go past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Okay. What does that mean?
And now it's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
So sit back, get everything you need to get from the kitchen. Be sure and empty the bladders, go to the bathroom, because you're in for a hell of a ride.
Odd news.
That's right, everyone. It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news. Here in this segment, Rich researches the news, he reads the news, and I react to the news. He finds a weird and wacky story and keeps it hidden from me, which ensures that all of my reactions are my genuine gut reactions to hearing these stories for the very first time. I don't know what's about to happen. You guys don't know what's about to happen. And even Rich doesn't know what's about to happen because these stories always take us down wacky and wild paths. And I'm ready to get started. Where are we heading to?
Oh, come on, Mike.
Are we heading to the amazing land of Florida?
Now, who is this guy in Florida?
It's Florida, and they're crazy.
Yep, back to Florida.
Back to Florida. It's the alpha and the omega of the odd news.
Well, speaking of Cerveza Cristal and beer, this past weekend was St. Patty's Day.
That's true, it was.
So, naturally, we've got some St. Patty's Day stories.
Of course.
We're going to talk about the case of 37-year-old Gregory Zopp.
Zopp?
Zopp.
Wow. Okay.
Zip, zop, zoop-a-da-bop.
Zip, zap. That was a game that we used to play. Do you remember that?
Zip, zap, zoop.
Zip, zap, zoop.
Yeah, zip, zap, zoop.
Yeah.
This is Zopp, unfortunately.
This is Zopp.
He's not in the game.
He's the fourth one.
Zip, zap, zop, zoop.
Zip, zap, zop, zoop.
Zip, zap, zoop, zop. Yeah.
So what about zoop? Zoop?
Zopp.
Zopp. Oh, my God. I'm going to mix it up so much.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Zopp.
This is the case of 37-year-old Gregory Zopp. According to an arrest report, 74-year-old Ruth Bullard called 911 to report that while she was checking out a house, she's a realtor. That's why it's here, that she's checking out a house here that she was about to sell.
Okay.
While she was leaving that house, she called 911 to report that this man, Gregory Zopp, approached her and just started screaming at the top of his lungs. Yeah, there you go. That pretty much tracks, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, full-blown screaming. Why not?
Just let it out.
This Bullard said that this encounter left her frightened to death.
Yeah. Some dude just walks up and just starts shouting.
By the way,
wait, was he in the house or
no,
was
he's walking by the house?
Oh, he's walking by the house. Okay.
This happened at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. He's just walking and screaming.
Just walking and screaming. What did you do this weekend? Well, I was walking and screaming.
Yeah, you know how that happens, right?
He was just really excited to go to St. Patty's Day brunch, is what it was.
Upon further look onto this Gregory Zopp, cops noted in the arrest report that he wore a crown of thorns and he carried a piñata with him.
This is like drugged up Hispanic Jesus. What? A crown of thorns?
Yes.
What is this biblical BS?
I don't know, but and a piñata.
And a piñata. What kind of piñata? What was it?
I guess your standard piñata. It doesn't say anything else about it.
Just the standard. What is it? Like a donkey? What is that
it's
piñata?
It's a horse, isn't it?
Is it a horse?
Dangles?
I think it's it's a horse, I guess. Yeah.
Just make sure it doesn't make a sound like that. That's alive. But don't hit that horse.
If your piñata starts screaming like that,
yeah, not good. So cops got on the scene. When they read his rights, Zop decided to, quote, sing his leprechaun song.
Oh. Oh, boy.
And did a dance.
His leprechaun dance.
Yes. I have no idea what to make of this guy now. So he's got a piñata.
Okay.
But he claims he's singing an Irish dance.
Right.
So, but he's got a crown of thorns. Like,
yup. That all makes perfect sense for someone from Florida.
Yeah, so I don't know how you want to factor all that in.
Shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor early in the morning.
It was early in the morning. It was 10 a.m.
It was early in the morning.
So there you go. He's singing his leprechaun song.
He's singing his leprechaun song, doing his leprechaun jig.
Yep.
And,
enjoying his
piñata
and crown of thorns.
Crown of thorns.
It's very Catholic.
It is.
That tracks.
It does. There's one connection.
Yes. So there you go. I don't know what to make of this guy. He is all over the place.
I gotta admit, if I were that realtor, I would be absolutely terrified too. Like, you're just like coming out of the house, like, oh man,
you're just doing your job. Yeah.
This house is ready to show. I'm gonna make a big sale. I'm so excited. Here comes this lunatic.
Yes.
Looks like some kind of deranged, like, leprechaun Jesus figure with a crown of thorns, but carrying a piñata, just screaming at the top of his lungs. I'm thinking, I'm about to get murdered.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm in Florida. And you're never that far from murder in Florida, I feel like.
So, yeah, cops arrested him. Apparently, he did something similar last week where he went to a Hobe Sound deli.
A what? Hobe Sound?
Hobe Sound.
Is that a city?
I think that's a town.
Is that a
Hobe,
brand?
that sounds like that sounds like a town.
Hobe Sound.
HOBESOUND. Hobe Sound Deli.
I found Hobe Sound.
Is it a town?
It is a town.
Okay. So there he screamed. I love how that's just the sentence. He screamed. So I assume it's just blanket scream. Yeah, so just like it's just like that, just constantly.
Is that just his calling card, like everywhere he goes?
When he just walks into a room, that's how he walks into the room, just top of his lungs.
His parents never taught him how to say hello.
No.
So when he walks up to somebody, he just screams in their face.
Yeah.
It's actually really lonely, Rich, because nobody screams back. Nobody screams back.
Nobody's screaming back into the void, yeah.
Yeah. That's really sad when you think about it like that. But that's probably not the case.
Yeah. He was arrested for disorderly conduct and booked into the county jail on a $150 bond.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there you go. Crown
of thorns, a piñata, a leprechaun dance,
screaming leprechaun dance.
Love it.
What a just checklist.
That's how you get in the spirit of St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
Because you said it happened on, what was it, Sunday?
It did. It happened on Sunday.
So,
so this was St. Patrick's Day.
He was on his way to brunch.
He was going to go to brunch?
Yeah. He was just,
brunch!
He was really excited. He had his...
That's his brunch face. That's my brunch face.
That's his, yeah. You got to be prepared for brunch. This is not a laughing matter.
I want Arlie. Oh man, I wish Arlie the Ermy wasn't dead. I want Arlie Ermy to walk into like a brunch. I want to see your brunch face. Try harder! You're not ready for brunch!
You're not ready for brunch. You got to be prepared to brunch. All right?
This guy is ready.
This guy is ready. He is prepared.
Private, he's got his pinata. Where is yours?
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. I love Full Metal Jacket. There you go.
That is an interesting movie.
Anyway, there you go. That's the tale of Gregory Zopp.
Gregory Zopp. Zap.
Zip.
Zip, zap, zop, zoop.
Yeah. He should just be a Pokemon at this rate. Just go, Zop! Zop!
At least then people would know something about him other than just screaming in their face.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how many drugs was he on?
I think he was just drunk. Because it doesn't say any drugs.
Oh, wow.
Or you know what? He's screaming so much, they're just like, let's put him in the jail. Just
yeah.
No questions asked. Let's get him in the car.
Let's just assume something's wrong.
Let's get him to the jail cell.
Yeah.
Have him calm down.
Right.
The man hasn't done brunch yet.
The man hasn't brunched yet. He needs a minute. He's just hangry because he hasn't brunched yet. It's 10 a.m. He's like, he wants to get going. He needs to get to brunch, you know. He's wearing his Sunday best with his crown of thorns.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. And that's what I have for you this week in the Non-Fortune Cookie Odd News. Appropriate St. Patrick's Day. There you go.
Yeah. I can't say that I celebrated like he did. I don't think anybody did.
That's a hell of a way to celebrate.
Yeah.
Mr. Zopp.
That is one of a kind.
Zopp!
I feel like everybody's celebration falls short of that. Like, he set the high water mark.
You know what he needed?
What?
Cerveza Cristal. Yeah, that's what he needed.
That would have made it perfect.
Yeah, that would have soothed them.
It was in the pinata. They busted open and just Cerveza Cristal.
Cerveza Cristal. Yeah, it just all flows out.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. Well, I think that's a fine way to end the show. We had a lot of interesting topics.
It'd be amazing if I had a Cerveza Cristal, just pulled it out from under the table.
Yeah, actually, we're actually sponsored by Cerveza Cristal. Yeah, should have got that.
I love that.
Right underneath. Cerveza Cristal. Yep. No, unfortunately, we aren't. So, our lips are parched.
Yeah.
We need to wrap up the show because we don't have a Cerveza Cristal.
No, we got to go get some.
Yeah, we'll go get some now that we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you guys for tuning in and supporting our little show. If you like what you heard, make sure you go to our website, thecrispynoodle.com. Make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms. But most importantly, make sure you have a way to get the podcast sent to you every week. Two main ways of doing it. The first one is through YouTube. Go to our YouTube page, hit the subscribe button, and you'll get the weekly episodes sent straight to your account right away. The second way to do it is on Spotify. Go to Spotify, search the Crispy Noodle Podcast. The video podcasts will get sent on Spotify, but you can also put Spotify in the background and listen to us as an audio-only podcast. And then using the power of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you can take us on the go. If you're driving to get some Cerveza Cristal, if you're driving to get your pinata and scream at random people with your crown of thorns, you can take us with you on the go using that with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So lots of ways to enjoy our little show.
Yeah, so many ways to enjoy it. But if you need to get in touch with us individually on X, formerly known as Twitter, to share your sports, entertainment, and odd news stories, you can find us there. I'm at Mikey Costanzo, MikeyCostanzo.
And I'm at Rich Liebig, RICHLIEBIG. Find us on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Send us stories you want us to talk about on future episodes. Any odd news goes to me so Mikey doesn't see it. But if we use your content or we use your suggestions, we'll give you a sausage shout-out. So make sure you do that. But right now, I think we all need a cold one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A Cerveza Cristal.
We need a Cerveza Cristal. And wrap this up. This has been the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. That'll do it. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Later. Bye-bye, all you fine peoples. Good night.
Some of us have great stories, pretty stories that take place at lakes with boats and friends and noodle salad. A lot of people, that's their story. Good times, noodle salad.